So, the first three noble truths of love: relationships never stabilize, they're uncomfortable. Thinking they should be stable and comfortable actually creates the instability and discomfort. And meeting the discomfort together is love itself. Okay, you may think, that sounds crazy, or that sounds great, or maybe a little bit of both, I'm not sure. But in any case, how would I do that? So I'm going to suggest 4 steps that you could take to explore this view of love. And these steps mimic what is required to create a true spiritual practice. With any practice, a spiritual practice or the practice of relationship, the first step is always to create a strong foundation. When it comes to meditation, that foundation includes qualities like discipline and simplicity and so on. Without those qualities, your practice will not take root. So, what are the equivalent qualities in a relationship without which love will not take root? So, the first quality that I want to offer you, the first foundational quality, is honesty. Honesty is not so simple. It doesn't mean just blurting what you think when you think it and just let the cards fall where they may. Rather, honesty begins with knowing the truth yourself. Do you know yourself? Do you know how you feel? Do you know what you want? Do you know what's hurting you? Do you know what's giving you joy? Most of us need to take some time to actually know those things. And then once you know them, can you speak them to your beloved or not? And then once you know them, you can decide, yes, now I want to tell you about this. Now is not the time. I'm going to wait. So if you don't know the truth about yourself and you have no sense of timing for when to share that truth, it'll be very hard to create a relationship. Or if you do know the truth and you're capable of telling the truth, but you're with someone who does not know themselves and therefore is not capable of telling you the truth, you can have a fantastic love affair, don't get me wrong. But the possibility of having a good, lasting relationship with someone who cannot be honest, I'd say is pretty close to zero. So that's the first foundational quality, honesty. The second foundational quality may sound a little mundane, but it's called good manners. And by good manners here, I don't mean knowing which fork to use and that kind of thing. I mean being capable of thoughtfulness toward another person so that when you are cold, I could offer you something warm to drink. Or if you have had a hard day, I can offer you a kind word. This is what I mean by good manners. Thinking of someone else, anticipating what might be useful to them, helpful, comforting, and then, if it makes sense, to offer it. Now, if you're in a relationship with someone who does not have good manners, according to this definition, again, you can have a fantastic love affair. But the idea that you'll be able to have a lasting, steady relationship, I would say is impossible, because if the person will not think of you, they cannot love you. So these first 2 qualities, very foundational, honesty and good manners / thoughtfulness. Without those qualities, you can't really have a relationship. I know that's a very strong statement, but I'm pretty sure it's true. The next quality that contributes to a strong relationship is called openness. Here, openness means you are willing to look at your partner as having equal importance to yourself in the relationship. That may sound very simplistic, but I'll just confess, I was surprised and taken aback when I fell in love and I was in a long-term relationship to realize there was somebody else there. I thought this was supposed to be about me and making me happy and getting my needs met and so on, and I exaggerate, but not that much. But being willing to look at your loved one as having equal importance, and even sometimes more importance, to yourself is critical in establishing a deep bond. Now, that may sound obvious, but that is very hard to do. However, if you're with someone who will not give you equal importance, or you are reluctant to do so yourself, for them, the possibility that love will take root is very narrow. And then the final quality could be called letting go. As mentioned before, romance will always end. It can come back, but it will go away again, and it will come back, and it could go away again. In other words, you can't count on it as the foundation for your relationship. And often when romance seems to cool, we get scared. And it's understandable because it's so wonderful. We want it to come back. But we may think, oh, now there's a problem. Maybe we're not right for each other. What happened to the romance? But the truth is that phase ends and you can't commit to romance for a lifetime. However, there is something even better that you can commit to. It is profound. It is the source of joy. It is passionate. It is powerful. And you can commit to it for a lifetime. And that is called intimacy. So instead of looking at every problem that you encounter with your loved one as an obstacle to romance, you could look at every problem that you encounter as a chance to deepen intimacy, to know yourself better, to share that self more courageously, to invite your partner to do the same. There is no possibility that you will get to the end of intimacy. It can always go deeper. So if you're looking for something that you can commit to honestly, wholeheartedly, that something is not love, but it is intimacy. So to recap, the 4 qualities that we can bring to bear on the noble truths of love to create a strong and lasting bond that will go deeper than you could ever imagine. First, we have to know how to be honest and be with someone who knows how to be honest too. Second, we have to be capable of good manners, meaning thoughtfulness, as does our partner. Third, we have to be willing to hold the other person as having equal importance, and sometimes even more, to ourselves in a relationship. And finally, rather than committing to romance and running around to look for it when it's gone, we could commit to intimacy, to knowing and to being known. And at some point, I promise you, love becomes something so much more than what you feel or your partner feels, and instead becomes the world in which you live. Rather than living 2 concurrent lives next to each other in the same house, you are living in one life together.